That's really fascinating. You probably got into IT or like security overall at a really interesting kind of foundational stage of security, right? And I'm saying that because not only did you know the word degaussing, but you did degaussing, right? Like I know the word, but I never did it, right? So there's a difference there. It tells you exactly where I started that.
Exactly. You probably studied it on a test. Yeah,
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 I had to know
yeah,
it for a test, as a
yeah.
term. Like that's
Yeah,
literally
yeah,
it.
I ran the degaussing machine, and not only this is really shows you where we were back then with security. You want to know what you had to do after you would degauss the hard drives?
I would assume drill holes into it.
You got it, you got it. So next to the degausser machine was a Black& and Decker drill, because after they came out, you drilled a hole through it, and now it's finally decommissioned.
Wow. I'm kind of surprised that there's like not a machine to do that. I'm sure that there is now, right? Because all it takes is like one person to get like minorly injured, and the military would be like, "All right, we need to just automate this."
Right, right, right. I think it's probably the entire process is now automated. I'm sure you probably incinerate it at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just to like go down that little caveat, right? Like, I think I heard the FBI make recommendations 2 years ago where they updated how many times you have to wipe a hard drive before it's actually wiped. And I think they increased it from like 7 or 9 to 15 times now you have to wipe it with a
Okay.
certain like wiper software. And it's insane the extent that, people hiding data or getting rid of data have to actually go to truly get rid of it at this point in time.
Yeah, and when you think about it, it really speaks to the advances in technology that we've made to recover data.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so had we not made these, step changes in our ability to recover data, then we wouldn't have to, on the other side, compensate by going through all of these wipes in order to destroy data. So we can recover it up to a certain extent, then that means that we have to destroy it beyond that extent.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. When I was doing my master's, I took a forensics class, and it was pretty crazy because, like, I would wipe a hard drive like 5 times and still restore the registry. And from the registry, I'm pulling in like user activity and all these different functions that they were running, all the configuration changes and stuff. And you're able to like piece it together with such little data. It's crazy to think that.
Absolutely right. And that's why maybe it's time to get back to degaussing and drilling holes in the machine.
Right. With social engineering, so I actually started my first like security dedicated role. I was running the phishing simulation tool that we were running, and my logic with it was that I was going to make these tests as difficult as possible, as realistic as possible, because an attacker is not going to say, "Oh, this is unfair," to say your 4K bonus just hit, check it here. Right? An attacker is going to do that exact thing. They're going to spoof the Vanguard domain. They're going to do all these different things to be able to make it look realistic enough for people to click. And I was very proud of it. I got like an 88% click rate. I was very convincing. And my CISO pulled me aside one time and he goes, "Hey, can we make it a little bit easier? Because like I just got by it." And I
Right,
was like,
right.
"Well, do you think the attackers are gonna give us a break? Like we got you with something unfair. We could try it again." Like that's never gonna happen. And we've been breached before. Like let's not skimp on this, right? And I did end up having to make it a little bit easier, but they were still pretty difficult. I was still failing like 85%. That was great.
Here's what I say. I would say, and I'm not trying to play Switzerland here. I think you both are right. Honestly, I think you're both right. I think that you're absolutely right in that the adversary is not going to take it easy on our organization. And as a result of that, we have to have realistic training. I'll say that. But I also think that the CISO is also right in that, hey, are we building and implementing the testing so that we can witness our organization fail? Or are we building and testing the organization to ensure it's resilient? And resilience requires the users to know when it's not a legitimate email, but it also requires my security organization to have built in control, allow someone to click on an email and take my entire organization down.
Right.
So we talk to our customers because one of our products is around phishing simulation, and we talk to our customers about this. And the customers that we find have the most success leveraging phishing simulations are customers who believe that I'm using this to test my existing controls, not to catch my users. Like it's not a gotcha game with the users. And what I mean by that is if I know that someone has gone outside of a control or gone outside of a policy, then the simulation should allow me to catch that. Because most times what we find with security incidents is it boils down to a policy violation. And so how do I leverage this technology to test whether or not people comply with the policy that says you shouldn't make updates on Swift accounts, until you get the right authorization, regardless of how urgent the phone call makes it sound.